Hello everyone. I don't know if there's anybody here or not, but I don't know why my video quality is only in like 240. That's terrible, but nothing I can do about it now because I already started streaming. So we'll wait a couple minutes and see if anybody shows up. If not, then we'll do this another time. Let me pull up the hey Radical. And when you say everyone, you mean you and I. So I think we're the only ones here so far. I don't know, I just figure everyone's up, or everyone's, it's the weekend for one, and not everyone is in the United States, so figure if I stream at all different hours, then, it'll be good for everybody. How are you, Radical? Yeah, there's a whole 2 viewers. Yeah, one of them was probably me. I don't know who the other one was. Hey, no more money. I don't know why my microphone is so staticky either. It's like white noise. Winding down from fireworks show at my buddy's. Dog is finally... Yeah, right? I know, my dog, she's usually like right on top of me, but I sort of, I feel bad. I sort of locked her out. Hey, Victoria. Yeah, happy 4th. It actually rained here because our monsoon season started. And there were people trying to shoot off fireworks while it was raining. I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work too well. But oh, I know, they get so scared. And they can hear things so much better than we can, too, so. I think I did a live stream on 4th of July, or 4th of July Eve, or whatever, last year as well. Because I think I remember all the guns being shot. Which I actually have not heard that many guns, so that's good. Hey, Matt. And I'm still having mic issues, so if I go silent for quite some time, please let me know. Hey, One Easy. I still want to know why my video quality is in 240. It's terrible. You guys are all gonna think you need your eyes checked. Like, why can't I see Megan's streams? My eyes that bad? Well, looks like, well, I think Victoria and Matt are over. Oh, there's Catherine. Hey, Catherine. I was gonna say, if there's only like 2 people on YouTube, then, I mean, I was gonna say, might as well just go to D Live only, so at least I can play whatever I want or stream whatever I want. I mean, not that I don't appreciate Matt, Catherine, and Victoria being there, but it's doing okay. My audio, yeah. I moved it away from the laptop, the microphone, and it's still all like white noise. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know why I still continue to stream with all these issues, but but I don't have anything like planned. This is just a spur of the moment live stream since I didn't go out or anything tonight. And I just figured, what the heck, right? I haven't done one on YouTube for a while. I always want to say AOL. I don't know why. I haven't used AOL in years. Yeah, because my YouTube is saying 0 viewers. Wait, streamed 3 minutes ago. Am I still even live? I don't think I am. Or maybe I am. I don't know what's going on. Hey, Sue. I was just going to say, this is a good time for Sue to be here. Hey, Shell. So is everyone pretty much, is don't sue you? Who's gonna sue you? It's nice to have you back in the chat. No More Money. It's been a while. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Kate. So, okay, so we'll just go ahead and get started, I guess. I don't, like I said, I don't really have anything planned. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have anything specific about the Watts case that you want to talk about? Did you want me to play some body cam footage? I already played most of the Officer Coonrod body cam footage on D Live a couple days ago, and I was gonna stream the Chris's polygraph test yesterday, but I don't know what happened, and we ended up listening to Elvis and then watching stand-up comedy, so it didn't, which is fine. Guys, let me know. You like how I do that? I'm supposed to be the streamer / channel creator, and I'm like, what do you guys want? What do you guys want to talk about? Like, I have nothing planned. And I do apologize about the mic going in and out. What do you feel is most compelling to prove his innocence? Well, wait, take two. Have you been in any of my watch streams before? No More Money? I think you have are you on YouTube? I don't know, because I know that you're normally in my chat, like, late at night, so I usually do the watch streams. Never mind. No. Oh. Hey, Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea, you reminds me of my chicken. You're like, thanks, Megan. Are you talking to me? Wait, who's saying no? I'm confused. One Easy, you're saying, oh, I thought No More Money said never mind. I was like, so wait, never mind your question? And I do have some, little bullet points that I've jotted down. You went to Melissa's channel but got lost in drama. Is the Watts case driving everyone insane? When yesterday, Sue, that whole shenanigans. All that drama, is that what you're talking about? Or was it today as well? Hey, Jenny. I don't think I ever said that he was completely set up. Actually, I know I didn't say that, but so my theory in a nutshell on this case, and of course all opinions and theories are welcome here, not just mine, but hold on, let me turn my volume down in my headset, so hopefully I'll just try to keep checking it to make sure my volume doesn't go out. But so my theory, and if you I can't remember, No More Money, are you in? Yeah, you go into High Impact Flicks, Brian's chats and whatnot, right? So my theory is that the Watts case was orchestrated completely, meaning that I don't want to necessarily say crisis actors, because usually crisis actors are, the quick, 5 minutes on the camera and fake crying, right? This case was a lot bigger than I think some people realize, or most people realize. I think it's even bigger than I realize. I haven't been able to quite pinpoint exactly what the motive was, but then again, there's also multiple motives. that come with these orchestrated events. Hey, Pride or Honesty. So it was orchestrated to push multiple agendas onto the public, right? Now, it's likely, as far as what I can see, it seems like they are orchestrating, I'm not going to say all. I haven't researched these other ones enough to say without a, shadow of a doubt. But I think that they've been orchestrating some of these high profile murder cases to push agendas. Or to, whether to be to pass laws, to take away free speech, to induce fear, to make people believe that, even someone like Chris Watts can murder his entire family, even though they were like the spitting image of a perfect family, right? Middle class, white family, good looking people, right? Beautiful kids, and seem to have it all, right? So they want, they want us to believe that it can happen to us at any time, even if your significant other or your family member that's close to you that you would think would never ever do anything like that. They want us to think that it's possible. Now, is murder real? I mean, obviously, and I have to say that because I get those individuals that will leave a comment in my comment section and say, "Oh, so what are you saying? Murder's fake and people don't get killed?" I'm like, no, I never said that. You're putting words in my mouth. But I do believe that they are fabricating these high-profile mainstream media cases to push agendas. Because why is it that because we know that murder happens all the time, right? Every single day. Children go missing every single day. So why is it that certain cases get so much attention compared to others? Hey, free speech. And I gotta remind me, you guys, that I'm on YouTube as well, because I will, because I'm using OBS, and I always use OBS for DLive, and so I might get a little bit too transparent and not remembering that I'm on YouTube. So I'll try to keep my eye on the YouTube logo here. Hey, Ara. Jenny, I do. I don't. The video that I made on it, it's the timing. It's the timing of both events, right? So, did you want me to play that video? I don't think. Actually, I know that not all of you have seen it. Because I would actually like your opinions on it as well. Because, I'm not stating for a fact that this is what happened, or that Proposition 112 was one of the reasons for orchestrating it. I'm just simply pointing out the timing of both and the other, coincidental things to add to the list of this case. So. Oh, yeah, Ara, that's funny that you mentioned that, because I remember watching a documentary about the Dalia Dipolito case, and thinking, this seems so, not real. It just seems, nothing seems real about it. Yeah, I totally agree. Lisa, what's the Thrive angle? Just greed, promote the company. Thrive played a huge role in this, because they got a ton of free publicity. So I don't know how many people watch Shanann's Facebook live streams of her videos selling Thrive. I have no idea. But if you think about it, right? Shanann's Facebook was, left open to the public for all of us to see and go in there and, watch all of her videos. The ones with her selling Thrive, the ones with her taking the girls to the doctor's appointments, to, whatever, the ones with Chris. And there's another reason for that as well, but I won't get into that. I just want to stick to the Thrive part. But so again, I don't know how many people watch Shanann's Facebook videos before the event, but by leaving Shanann's Facebook account open to the public, millions of people, especially with the documentaries and social media and Netflix now, a ton of people watched her videos, and sometimes multiple times, right? Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. Apologize. Calm down, girl. Lord have mercy. Welcome. Hey, Michelle. Okay, so a ton of people watched, I don't know the exact number, but we can only imagine, just on YouTube alone, look how many views these videos have that they've got, right? So even though it's related to like a quadruple homicide case, because that's sometimes someone's argument, they'll say, why would anybody want to have anything to do with Thrive or Lavelle when it could be a possible reason as to why Chris did what he did, right? Based on the official narrative. There's no proof of that, and any publicity is good publicity, right? So it was a huge publicity stunt by Thrive. I've heard people say there's channel creators on YouTube that started selling Thrive, started taking Thrive. I've seen so many comments where people have said that they want to try Thrive, and or that they are selling it now. And there's even a website that shows that Lavelle's sales skyrocketed after the murders. Now, do I know 100% sure that it was from the Watts case? No, again, but we can more than likely assume that that's what it was from. I wish I could actually find like the specific numbers of all their sales for 2018, but I haven't been able to come across a website that shows that information. So but I mean, really, like, they didn't have to pay. I mean, as far as I know, why should they have to pay anything? They left Shanann's Facebook account open, and that's all she ever did on Facebook was thrive, thrive, thrive. Almost every single video, right? She's like, I woke up today, took my Thrive, and I cleaned the house twice, took the girls to school, gave them a bath, cooked dinner, yada, yada, yada. I don't have these ailments anymore. I don't have to take my medication for those anymore. I feel great. So again, a lot of people have watched those videos, and just, even though again that it's like related to a murder case, subconsciously it's still, people still want to know more about it, right? Or they'll go and look it up and like, oh, what's this Thrive thing? And then once they see the videos on their website, they're all fancy, like, ooh, Thrive, Lavelle, yeah, then, I mean, it's genius in my opinion. So that's my take as far as Lavelle's part in it. I think they have a much bigger role as well, but that I'm not 100% sure on. Yeah, I never heard of Thrive, but I don't take like those nutritional products or whatever, MLM stuff. And I'm sorry if I missed comments when I was gone, but so, did you guys want me to play that? And I know that some of you have seen it before, but it doesn't hurt to watch again. The video I made about the Psyops and the fracking, the Proposition 112. Hey, Craig. Hey, Nelly. Neck and Futz. I was going to say, you're up late. Good night. Michelle says, I wouldn't put it past them. Remember the Fiji, the Fiji water the cops drank in the Las Vegas shooting. I do remember that, but what was the, oh, yes. Because the free publicity, exactly. I'm almost wondering now, Michelle too, is if Fiji has some sort of a cult like meaning behind it as well. I was just listening to myself. Hey, Monica. Hi, Christy. Yeah, I agree. Neck and Futz. And and that's the thing is it even says on Lavelle's website that they don't recommend or to speak with the doctor before um, wearing Thrive patches if you're pregnant or breastfeeding. And Shanann doubled up. So, oh, and I can't believe I forgot this. Not a, thank you, Nuck and Futz, for reminding me. So, not only did you have Shanann's Facebook account, you know, left open to the public, but um, you have you couldn't look anywhere without hearing or seeing a Thrive product somewhere, right? Whether it be from mainstream media saying Shanann, age 34, she sold nutritional products for Lavelle, yada yada, or any of law enforcement, you know, talking about it. The Thrive packages in her suitcase. There was a Thrive patch stuck to the shower. There's, you know, even Nicole Kessinger was talking about Thrive. Now, she wasn't talking about it in a good light, but again, it doesn't matter because people are still going to be like, oh, what is that? And they're going to go look up Thrive or look up Lavelle. And, you know, that's, again, what a brilliant publicity stunt or marketing, whatever. Oh, and hold that thought. Calm down, girl. I like your name, but it's long. Hold that thought, and I'll get back to that. And I have to remember that I'm on. I don't know why I do these multi streams because. I mean, I know why because it's easier, but I forget that I have to watch what I say on YouTube. So I don't know if oh, and then yeah, and then you have Nicole Atkinson on the body cam footage. She's got 2 patches on her. And then all this, you know, the Lindstroms and everybody else saying, "Oh yeah, she worked for Thrive," and then her friend Cassie that worked for Lavelle and Nikki, and it was mentioned so many times, and like I said, you literally could not look anywhere without seeing some sort of Thrive or Lavelle product. So I don't know if any of you guys answered about playing the video, but I'm just gonna go ahead and play it anyways, because like I said, I would. Microphone went out. Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, where are the markers? in my opinion. Oh, dang it, where'd that comment go? Hey, Ara, you made it to D-Live. Awesome. Thanks for following over here. Hey, J Fox. Thank you to anybody who donated on D-Live, because I don't have the alerts up, so actually I don't know if they should work. Actually, let me see, so that way I know. Okay, we'll try it now. Except I did lose that comment. Yeah, I do too. Calm down, girl. But I'm not going to repeat your whole comment because we're still on YouTube. I know it's pathetic, but that's what you have to deal with when you're, streaming on someone else's platform. Okay, I don't know where it went. Shoot. Kelsey sold me, where can I get some Thrive gum? Do they have gum? I'm surprised they don't now. Oh, well, I sound like Coonrod. Well, shoot. I don't know where that comment went. Dang it. Okay. Okay, so I literally searched for, because I just figured that would be faster than going to my channel and scrolling down to the video. I put, think for yourself, for the murder's a distraction. And my video doesn't even come up, and I put all those keywords in. That's interesting. Let's see. I think that's the name of it. I think I did change it, though, because it was fracking distraction, but I thought that would be hard for people to search for, so, or not as easy. Huh. Interesting. I'm on, wait, what do you mean you can't seem to catch a live on D-Live? I was like, you're on D-Live. Ara. Okay, it is. Yeah, I literally, okay, that's crazy. I literally put, think for yourself, for the murder's a distraction. And my video doesn't come up. Crazy, huh? Oops. Hold on, wait. I think I'll make it full screen too here for a second. And just so you know, this is only, I think, 1 out of 2 videos that I made that had like dramatic music in it. But the rest of my videos do not have anything dramatic about them. But I wasn't talking in this one, so it seemed fitting, and the music was. Okay, sorry. Sorry. I will probably pause it because so you guys can, if there is anything that you need to read. Actually, there is something you need to read, but you can't make everyone happy, right? You get the people that that complain that the text on the video is too fast, and then you get the other group of people that say that it's too slow, and so it's like, like I can't make everybody happy. So I tried to like meet in the middle, but I usually just pause it if someone's video, if the text is not long enough, but maybe they don't want to do that. Maybe that's asking too much. So anyway, and I will turn the volume down because it's a little bit loud. And it may buffer, just forewarning. Okay.
So, again, this is all industry stuff. Let's talk about this plan and how we executed our media plan. If you're a PR representative in this industry, in this room today, I recommend you do three things. These are three things that I've read recently that are pretty interesting to me. Download the U.S. Army/Marine Corps Counterinsurgency Manual, because we are dealing with an insurgency. There's a lot of good lessons in there, and coming from a military background, I've found the insight in that extremely remarkable. With that said, there's a course provided by Harvard and MIT twice a year. It's called Dealing with an Angry Public. Take that course. And tie back to the Army and Marine Corps Counterinsurgency Manual is that a lot of the officers in our military are attending this course. It gives you the tools, it gives you the media tools on how to deal with a lot of the controversy that we as an industry are dealing with. And thirdly, I have a copy of Rumsfeld Rules. If you're all familiar with Donald Rumsfeld, that's kind of my Bible by the way I operate.
Okay, so I'll just pause that and read it for you guys, because I know that my quality of the video is poor as well. It's about as just as bad as the video quality of all the footage released by Weld County. Okay, so they're not, when I say that they're using psychological operations on the public, right? I'm not saying that the actual army itself is performing these psychological operations, but what is happening is these big oil companies, right? They're using psyop-like tactics from this manual. Did I say that word? Manual? Manual. From this book that the Army uses to train, their soldiers to perform psyops, right? So I just wanted to clear that up, because I know that a few people have mentioned that, and they're like, well, the Army can't perform psychological operations, or it's not the Army that's doing it. And I'm like, I know, but they are getting these tactics of these psychological operations from this book that he mentions. Okay. The mission of PSYOP is to influence the behavior of, and then of course I crossed out foreign, because we're talking about domestic here, of target audiences to support U.S. national objectives. Psyop accomplishes this by conveying selected information and advising on actions that influence the emotions, motives, objective reasoning, and ultimately the behavior of audiences, which would be us, the public. Behavioral change is at the root of the Psyop mission. Although concerned with the mental processes of the target audience, it is the observable modification of target audience behavior that determines the mission success of Psyop. Leaders and soldiers must recognize that everything they do or choose not to do has a psychological impact.
One thing that we've worked a lot on at Range is just getting more proactive in the community. It's not something that we've done before. In other parts of the nation, it makes no sense for us to do that. In other parts, in Pennsylvania, for instance, we have several. I think Matt raised the issue of looking to other industries, in this case the Army and the Marines. We have several former Psyops folks that work for us at Range because they're very comfortable in dealing with localized issues in local governments. Really all they do is spend most of their time helping folks develop local ordinances and things like that, but very much having that understanding of Psyops in the Army and in the Middle East has applied very helpfully here for us in Pennsylvania.
Okay, so I'll just read it real quick. The focal point of a well-run Psyops campaign is to reward those who go along with the mission and punish those who do not. Other winning hearts and minds, Psyop-like tactics include industry sponsorship of county fairs, sponsorship of child domestic abuse centers, and donating money to other community projects.
Fracking comes to a city, it puts our health and safety at risk. With over 1,200 peer-reviewed research articles, the increased risk of asthma, birth defects, and cancer are well documented. In Colorado, fracking wells can be drilled within 500 feet of homes and 1,000 feet from school buildings. Aside from the health issues, these wells are loud, unsightly, and dangerous. Let's keep our neighborhoods safe and increase the buffer zone to 2,500 feet. Vote yes on Proposition 112 for safer setbacks from fracking. Donate now at coloradorising.org.
Here is what Proposition 112 would do to the already limited surface locations in Colorado. All of the red shaded areas are now off limits from future drilling just from the 2,500-foot town and housing development setbacks. Here you can see the effect of increasing the house and occupied structure setback to Proposition 112 standard. As you can see, a 2,500-foot setback for every house virtually takes away all available surface locations in the region. Streams, rivers, lakes, wetlands, and now even drainages, which is a very general term, will have 2,500-foot setbacks. Even if an area is not heavily populated, drainages and areas deemed vulnerable by Proposition 112 will virtually ban the majority of future drilling locations throughout the state. All of the additional current regulatory setbacks will also still be in place. As you can see, no drillable surface locations exist on the map, meaning that the private property and rights of mineral owners have effectively been taken away without compensation.
Okay, so it says oil and gas companies, including Anadarko and Nobel Energy, poured millions into the political interest group Protect Colorado. Through mailers, door-to-door visits, and TV ads, the group trumpeted the industry's economic success and raised concerns about what would be lost if companies faced new restrictions. And here you can see the amount of money they generated for their campaign. Okay, and I know you guys can't read that because it's kind of small, and again, the quality of my video. Says area off limits for natural. It's pretty much what that video just went over about the buffer zones, but the red area, the lighter red area, so this area, are off limits for natural gas and oil development by adopting setbacks of 2,500 feet, which would take up 85% or take away 85% of their drilling zones. The darker red is federal lands that could be open to natural gas and oil exploration due to 2,500 foot setback. In the rest of the state, 94%. Now, of course, those could be, a little obviously higher because they're trying to stop people from voting for this Proposition 112, right? But according to an analysis done by Will County's Director of Finance and Administration, Don Warden, the results of SB 181 will meet a 9% reduction in overall revenue to every taxing district, municipality, and county in Colorado. I was going to say country. The reduction comes at an even bigger cost to Will County's economy, where 68% of the state's new well permits were located in 2018. Okay, so this is important because you have Chris and Shanann, who just up in nowhere, right? Just left North Carolina. She just had that house that she just built, right? Allegedly, says the official narrative. And they said it. Oh, hold on. Sorry, you guys. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. My kitty was crying for some reason. So you have the Watts that moved to Colorado, just there was no, specific reason. They said that it was for to help Shanann's lupus because of the thinner air. I don't remember exactly what they said, but pretty much that it was for her lupus to help her with that and her other ailments. But so they move across the country to Colorado, and not only do they move across the country to Colorado, but they move to Weld County, which, as mentioned in the video, holds 90% of Colorado's oil. So just keep that in mind when watching the rest of the video, and then I'll go into further detail about it. Okay, so Weld County accounts for 90% of the drilling in Colorado and is the second most productive county in the United States. So, their house is like right on the front line, that Saratoga Trail house, where all that new development was being built. Okay, well, I just rewound it so that I could pause it on there, and then I tried to press pause, and it didn't work. So anyways, you guys saw the last screenshot where it was super close. I don't remember the percentages, but so it was a really close margin. Colorado Rising spent about $819,000. I'm sorry. Donations came mostly from individuals and several environmental advocacy groups and liberal philanthropy organizations. We overcame tens of millions in oil and gas spending, a 40-to-1 ratio, and lots of deceit and dirty tricks. Oil and gas. To come closer than was ever imagined. Read a statement issued by Colorado Rising. This is momentum that we will continue to build upon to protect our communities from a dangerous and belligerent industry. Okay, so I found this interesting that they put this in the discovery. So it reads, the director of Primrose asked Karen if she knew the Watts were selling their house. The only thing that Karen knew was that Shanann mentioned that Chris had an inside heads up that an oil and gas site was coming across from their house and it would drop their property value. There was no plan in place to actually move or sell. There was nothing impending, but they did not actually finish the conversation on 8/12/2018 in Arizona. So, again, it's, I don't, do I know for, without, for certain that, that keep in mind this is only just one agenda for orchestrating this case, right? There are several agendas. But again, you have to look at the timing. What are the odds that the Watts just happened to move across the country to Weld County, and Weld County that holds 90% of Colorado's oil, so they're right there on the front line, and Chris just happens to work for the company that was, at risk of losing all this money, and not just Anadarko, but all the oil and gas companies. It would have affected all of them in Colorado and in other states as well. So, you have to look at the timing again. That's what I'm looking at. It's like, it's too convenient. Like, literally, I mean, the what was it, 2.5 months or whatever, or 6 weeks, I guess, leading up to August 13th, right? That was the same time that the oil and gas companies and the environmentalist groups were, trying to either, one, convince people to vote for Proposition 112 or to vote against it. And literally in the same, 3-month period. I mean, it goes further back than that. But, and then you have Chris's court hearing that was scheduled for further in November, and Rourke pushed it forward without giving it a reason or explanation. Not that he has to, but it is odd. And not only that, but he schedules it for the biggest government day of the year, and it's election day. Why would you have this? Correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I remember, the maybe it wasn't. I thought that the his sentence hearing was televised. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe one of you guys can confirm that for me. But either way, why would you make this court date for this guy, right? For Chris, on the biggest government day of the year, election day? Again, maybe it's nothing. That could totally be the case. But again, I'm looking at the timing of everything and everything else surrounding it. And I've had, a couple of people say, oh, that's ridiculous. They're not going to orchestrate this whole murder case to, stop some bill from passing. But we're not talking about just some bill. We're talking about Colorado's economy, right? And the oil and gas companies. All they care about is money. Losing a shit ton of money. If that bill passed. Which it was very close. It was very close. And, and they say, oh, so you're trying to say that stopped them from going out and voting? And I'm like, I don't know. How would I know that? Unless I lived in Colorado and I went door to door and I said, did you vote for Proposition 112 on November 6, 2018? Did you actually leave your home to go vote? Did you stay at home? Did you watch the Watts case? You know what I mean? I would not know that unless I, again, could go door to door or find some sort of information that had that all listed. But I don't. Again, I'm just pointing out certain things and the coincidences. Okay, so if you've been following my channel for a while, I mention these all the time. These are characteristics that are not always, because they're not always going to be the same, right? You're going to have some of these orchestrated events that are going to have, maybe that this one, the killer didn't fit the profile. Maybe that one doesn't, another event doesn't have that one, simply because, you have to, every event's different. So you're going to have certain characteristics that are going to cater to that specific event. But for the most part, they use the same, whatever you want to call it, itinerary, the same tactics or whatever characteristics, throughout these orchestrated events. And so not in just true crime, not in homicide cases, but in terrorist attacks, in school shootings, and I'm saying shootings on YouTube, but I don't care. Whatever. Come at me, YouTube. So ridiculous. It's like it's just 2 words, so why can't I say 2 words that are in the, dictionary? Anyway. So this is going to be my, one of the ways to show you guys, and as far as like evidence goes, right? So in the future, if there's, an event that gains, it's a high profile event or case, tragic event, more than likely, and it gains widespread media attention within just days. And if the mainstream media is pushing all of the, and I know I can't see the chat right now, but so I'll try to get caught up on it. But, so if all the mainstream media outlets are pushing the same exact narrative and nothing's different about it, and again, if it just spreads like wildfire, right? Within just days, that's going to be one of your first red flags to look out for. Now, does that necessarily mean that it's automatically just makes it orchestrated? No. But it'll, make you hopefully just stop for a second and go, whoa, wait a second. I remember, Megan telling me that was one of the red flags in these orchestrated events. So it'll, at least hopefully make you take a step back before you let your emotions take over, and look at it, from a different perspective. Now, once you start seeing, this one and then like multiple, then that's when you're really going to want to, take an even bigger step back and look at the big picture that's going on here, right? Look at things differently and don't listen to what the mainstream media is telling you, or law enforcement, unfortunately. Now, if you can literally mark off every single one of these for an event, or at least most of them, the majority of them, you're more than likely, without a doubt, looking at an orchestrated event. Because again, they use these same tactics throughout all of them. And especially, and I'm not talking about like the ones where they add up, where the official narrative, everything adds up. There's nothing funky going on. There's no other red flags, right? And shit's not adding up. I'm talking about the ones that don't add up. Because those are the ones that have these characteristics in them. And they haven't switched them up in a while. And I don't see why they would, if they're working, right? So ask yourself, did the Watts case, did it gain high profile? Was it a high profile case, and did it gain widespread media attention super quick? Yeah, it did. And one reason for that, well, you have, of course, the mainstream media outlets all pushing it into our skulls. But not only that, you have Chris standing on his front porch pleading for the safe return of his family. What better way to gain widespread media attention than have this guy standing in front of his house, literally begging for his well, he wasn't literally begging, but pleading for the safe return of his missing family, right? And if you think about it, Shanann and the girls, and it might vary from state to state, but they were barely even missing for 24 hours. And that news media outlet, I don't know who gave the interview, I don't know if it was Denver or what, but they were freaking on that, right? They don't do that for all the other children that go missing all the time. I'm sure that there's many families that whose child was abducted or something, and they tried to contact the mainstream media outlets and say, hey, do you think that you could, get this story out there? So, because my daughter's missing and I'm whatever. No, they're going to be like, okay, call us back when they're missing for like a week, right? So why is it that some cases get so much more attention than others? I mean, we're literally talking like 24 hours that Shanann was missing and the girls. And you have all these news outlets ready to hear what Chris has to say. So did the Watts case, can you check off this first red flag? I'm hoping that you all say yes. Because if not, then we have a problem. Denver 7, okay. Has this case, has the narrative changed several times? Yes, it has. We have several accounts from Chris and his, multiple confessions. You have the footage of Shanann coming home, or the Vivint doorbell footage, when that should have been released with the discovery in the first place, but we didn't even get it until months later. Why? That's what people need to be asking. Why wasn't certain photos like the ones of Kessinger and Chris at the sand dunes and the stupid selfie pictures that I could give two licks about, right? But either way, why weren't those released with the discovery in the first place? And oftentimes in the bigger ones, like in the Las Vegas shooting, they will release information in something that we call docu dumps, right? So with the Las Vegas shooting, they would over time, like a couple of weeks, and Michelle, she's in the chat, she's covered the Las Vegas shooting way more than I have. I mean, I did follow it from day one, but I definitely was not making videos on it. I was watching all the videos, so I do know a lot about it. But Michelle knows way more than I do. But they will release these parts of the case files or the evidence, or it's called the FIT report, right? With the Las Vegas shooting, it wasn't a discovery, but so they'll release them in docu dumps to keep people interested in the case. So right when you think it's going to die down, it's like, oh, boom, here comes another set of body cam footage. Here comes this, and that's happened several times. Then you have the whole shadows thing, right? The shadows that got everybody stirred up talking about the case again, right? So stuff like that, and where the official narrative keeps constantly changing. So I think we could probably agree that we can check that off. And I didn't plan on going over these, but I forgot that I put these in the video. But these are important. These are super, super important for what I'm trying to show you guys. Because again, this is what you're going to want to look out for in future events, because they're not going to slow down, right? There's too many people that are asleep in order to stop these events happening, these orchestrated events. But once you are like woke, I guess I hate using that term, but like once you know and are aware of these events, and you know how to spot them, it's super easy to spot. Like to the point where it's almost like ridiculously easy and just almost laughable, right? But if you don't, then you'll have no idea of knowing. You would have no way. Because if everybody, knew that these were all psyops, then it obviously wouldn't be a very good one or a very successful one at that. Right? So that's what I'm trying to do. That's my purpose of continually covering this Watts case, is to really just to, one, if anything, encourage people to just really question everything. It's so important these days, especially with, the technology these days, and just how easily things can be manipulated, and people can be deceived so easily. So question everything. I would be happy with just that. But even better is if I can, wake people up to the deception of these orchestrated events. Okay, so the killer didn't fit the profile. Not always, but sometimes they will not fit the profile. So like Stephen Paddock, right? They told us he didn't have any political affiliation. Stephen Paddock was the alleged shooter for the Las Vegas shooting, right? He didn't have any political affiliation. He didn't have a violent past. He wasn't all of his friends and family, his girlfriend, they had nothing but good things to say about him. He was a little quiet. He kind of kept to himself, but, very giving person, generous person. He's retired and just a, retired poker player or video poker player. So he didn't have any of those like motives that you would expect from a mass shooter. You know what I'm saying? So that's when it falls into the whole the motive thing. They don't want to give us a motive for why these murderers did what they did, because that would give us some sort of closure, right? They don't want to give us closure. So they're going to say, oh, well, it could have been this reason, or it could have been this reason. But we waited, Michelle, how long was it? Like 3 years? Not 3 years, but yeah, 3? No. I don't know. A long time we were expecting this huge, like, FBI report on the case from the FBI. And it ended up being 3 pages, and we were also hoping that we would get a motive. The FBI is done with their investigation. We're finally going to have a motive as to why Stephen Paddock did what he did. No motive. It was 3 pages long. And we're talking about what we've been led to believe the biggest mass shooting in United States history, right? 58 people dying. And you're going to give us a 3-page final report, FBI? Nice. Real nice. So, no motive for Stephen Paddock. And we also have no actual motive for Chris Watts, right? How many times have you heard, or you said yourself, it doesn't make sense? Chris Watts does not fit the profile of a murderer, for one, or a family annihilator, 2. And what did all his friends and family say about Chris Watts? He wouldn't hurt a fly. He was an amazing dad. He was a loving husband. He, great employee, always to work on time. Never talked back. Never even saw him yell, right? Would not hurt a fly. Amazing son-in-law. Nobody involved in this case that was interviewed had a single negative thing to say about the guy. I mean, I don't care how nice you are or how nice of a person you are. There's always going to be something that somebody's going to find wrong with you, right? Nobody's perfect. So the fact that everybody in this case is literally saying practically the same exact thing, almost like they're on a script, you guys. They're saying the same exact thing, that Chris was just, all around great dude. Nothing bad to say about the guy. But then the minute they all heard that he backed his truck into that driveway, oh, nope. They knew he was guilty. They knew that something was up. It's like, really? Because you just got done saying in your interview that he was amazing and nothing bad to say about the guy. Wouldn't hurt a fly. Like, just because he backed his truck into the driveway? The Ruseks just got done saying that they loved him like a real son. Great husband. Nothing bad to say about the guy. Frank Sr. even said in his interview, I don't have anything bad to say about him. He was a good dad. Great husband. Loved him like a son. But, nope. We heard he backed his truck in and we knew that he did it. So, now they give us, little, teeny tiny motives, right? So you have the bankruptcy, you have all the medical debt from the, operations or surgeries, and from the girls going to the doctor all the time. You have the fact that Shanann says the official narrative, sending the mortgage checks, I don't write checks anymore, but maybe some people do, to the wrong address, right? So that's why they were 3 months behind on their mortgage, or 3 payments. 3 months. Whatever. Then you have the fact that, but whether people want to admit it or not, in the videos, Shanann was kind of a little controlling and a little bossy to Chris and kind of, degraded him a lot. So you have that where one can argue and say that, Chris bottled it all up inside. He was an introvert, like they say. And he was a ticking time bomb because he never, stuck up for himself or he just let it all bottle up. Then you have, of course, Nicole Kessinger, right? You got the mistress. So that's a potential motive. But they didn't actually give us a definitive motive for why Chris did what he did. But if they didn't throw those little tidbits in there, like the debt and the bankruptcy and the girlfriend or the mistress and, Shanann being bossy, if they didn't throw those in there, it wouldn't be believable whatsoever, right? They'd be like, well, there's no motive. I mean, this makes no sense at all. There's got to be something, and Chris, he doesn't show any signs of violent tendencies in the past. There's nothing, as far as we know, based on the official narrative, psychological going on up there. That would cause him to murder his family, right? So they had to throw those little teeny ones in to make it seem believable. And even with those, it doesn't seem believable. Because like I said, how many times have you said or you heard, Chris doesn't fit the profile? It doesn't make sense. He was a good dad, a good husband. They will usually not give us a motive, as far as, in my opinion, from what I've seen. They will not give a motive because, again, that would give us some sort of closure as to why Chris did what he did and committed such a horrific thing. And by not giving us a motive and not giving us closure, it also induces fear, and especially in women, right? Towards women. And I mentioned this earlier, but they want people to believe that if someone like Chris Watts, who, like I just said, showed no signs and doesn't fit the profile, if someone like Chris can just one day up and murder his entire family without an actual, definitive motive or reason for doing that, if he can do it, then what's stopping your significant other or your close, family member, or your brother, your sister, whoever? What's stopping the same thing from happening to you? I have seen so many comments. I just saved one. I took a screenshot the other day of someone saying how they don't trust their husband anymore, that they can't even, they're nervous around him all the time because they literally think that now this, the one that they married, gave their vows to, right? Or vows to, whatever, that's a different story, but the one that they, trust fully to protect them and their children, right, from harm, they can't even trust them anymore because of this case. That's crazy. But that's one of the agendas for this case, besides the other ones that I don't want to get into. If they come up, I'll go into it. But hey Martina, I know you came in a while ago. I meant to say hello. Yeah, I've seen it so many times. So people say how they literally can't trust their significant others anymore because of this case. That's how much the psychological bullshit of it affects people. And some it might not even affect at all, right? Some people might not even think twice about it. Go, I don't care. Actually, it doesn't make me not trust my husband. But there are the ones where it does affect them, the psychological aspect of it. So fear is one of the major or main agendas for a lot of these orchestrated events. So not only now do many women think they can't trust their husband based off one murder case, they also want us to think that the only ones that we can trust are the government and law enforcement, which is absolutely not true. Okay, so then the next one is follow the money. Who, Key bono, who benefits? And in this case, many people benefited, as you can see on the list. One I talked about earlier, which was Lavelle. You have all the social media platforms that are. We know that how many views this case brings in on YouTube alone. You have Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz. You have all the Denver news, all the mainstream outlets. You have HLN, Discovery ID, Netflix, huge one. Any of those cable shows that made any documentaries about this case. And have you noticed too that a lot of these high-profile murder cases, granted, yes, it's because they're high-profile, but you just see documentary after documentary after documentary, the same narrative, like over and over and over again. They just keep making, throwing out these documentaries because they're all making money off of it. Then you have American Horror Story. It got me to go watch the show and find all the connections to it. Just by it coming up on Nate's TV. Then, of course, you have Anna Darko, who might have possibly saved, billions of dollars because that Proposition 112 didn't pass. I also believe that, in my opinion, that Occidental deal, the acquisition between Anadarko, they already made that deal way before Anadarko announced that they were selling. Now, do I have proof of that? No. Am I still searching and trying to research that? Yes. There's also an article that talks about insider trading prior to the murders, right? So if you have some secretive insider trading going on of large amounts of stocks, knowing that it might drop Anadarko's oil prices down once this story hits, right? But then again, a lot of people that are involved with oil, they don't care. They don't care. Like, so what? So this dude took his family to some oil rig owned by Anadarko. Like, I don't care. That it would have no effect on them, right? It's just whatever. All they care about is getting paid, getting their money from the oil. So, again, I'm just, throwing things out there. But it's good to cover everything. So, and there's other agendas as well that fall into that. As far as like what's going on right now that I've been, I'm not psychic by all means, but I did say, and there's proof of it in one of my live streams, and also in my video that I made about honor, that they're going to try to take away free speech from social media in the true crime community. They're already doing it in other communities, especially the, conspiracy ones. But they're trying to take away free speech. And that's the whole involvement with the Ruseks that I've been talking about. How they're causing chaos. And they're doing the opposite of what they should be doing and avoiding social media. But they're actually inserting themselves into social media. And not only that, but the true crime community where that's all we talk about is the deaths of Shanann, Bella, Cece, and Nico, right? Or says the official narrative. They are pushing an agenda, the Ruseks are, with their ridiculous behavior and their shenanigans, no pun intended. Okay. So is it fair to say we can check those off? Hey, Bartwan. So the next one would be, there are more questions and answers. Pretty sure you've heard once or twice, again, or you heard yourself say, and you know that there are so many unanswered questions to this case. Why? Here's another question for you to add to the list. Why? Why are there so many unanswered questions? Why are there more questions than answers? Especially with a case where, and I don't want to say so much information was released, but compared to other homicide cases, there was a large amount of evidence released with all the body cam and whatnot. So why is it that we have less unanswered questions with other cases where we didn't get this amount of information released, like we did with the Watts case? This case should have been open and shut. If they're, supposed to be transparent by releasing all this footage and discovery files. There was no trial. He pled guilty, right? Bing, bang, boom. That's it. Let's go home, boys. So why are there so many unanswered questions when with this amount of information that was released? Because it's done that way on purpose. That's a whole part of the psychological bullshit of it. They release all this information so that it pulls people in, it pulls at heartstrings, it gets people reading and burying their faces in the discovery like we've been doing for over 2.5 years now, trying to figure out, starting off, right, with true crime, because that's what people do in the true crime community. They want to read the case files and dive into it. That's the whole part of it. But then once people start to notice all these inconsistencies, then it brings out the whole conspiracy and the whole cover-up thing. And I saw the exact same thing happen with the Las Vegas shooting. And although these are like two different tragic events, right? One's a mass shooting and one's a familicide. They still have the same exact characteristics. So with Las Vegas, they released all the body cam, not all of it, but they released an excessive amount of body cam footage, 911 calls, witness statements, the FIT report, the FBI 3-page report, whoopee, more than any other mass shooting case, right? Or event. And yet, there were more questions than answers after that event. There's still people filing FOIA requests to get information about that event. To try and figure out what in the hell, why does nothing add up? Why are there so many inconsistencies with statements by the LVMPD and the FBI? Same exact thing, same holes and discrepancies that you find in the Watts case were found. Same thing, statements not matching up in the Las Vegas shooting. Okay? There's no reason why we should have so many unanswered questions with this case. But again, it's done that way on purpose. And as far as I know, I'm the only one that's, giving answers, some sort of answers to all these questions that people in the true crime community have. Like, why has the story changed multiple times? Why he doesn't fit the profile? What's the agenda? Who benefits from orchestrating it? And again, more questions and answers. Okay, and this is not always the case, with every event. But I've seen it in others. Just like with the Las Vegas, and I talk about the Las Vegas shooting a lot. I compare the two because, again, they are so similar. It's crazy. So with Stephen Paddock, he, based on the official narrative, allegedly committed suicide in the hotel room before the SWAT team entered the hotel room. Right? That's what we were told. How convenient, right? How convenient that this, the guy that just allegedly killed 58 people, just so happened to commit suicide, and you know what that means, right? Dead men tell no tales. And they're not going to go through a whole trial, right? Orchestrating a whole trial and having to, fake a trial when they could just have the perpetrator, right, or the murderer commit suicide, and then, like I said, dead men tell no tales. And by doing a trial, that's only going to potentially bring out more inconsistencies in the official narrative. And you also don't have to have a trial to convince the majority of people or the public that this event actually happened and that the official narrative is actually factual. Because people will literally just hear it on the news from your CNN or your Fox or whoever and never ever question it, right? So they don't have to go and do all that. They don't have to these events are, a lot of them, the bigger ones especially, are planned years in advance. And I could go into a couple of those, but I don't want to go into too much detail about that either. But so they're not going to go through all that to just potentially gain one thing. And that's why there's multiple agendas involved. But they're not going to go through a whole trial and everything, unless, of course, the trial is going to push another agenda of that event, right? Maybe there's some sort of propaganda that's going on as far as that goes. But with the Las Vegas shooting and with the Chris Watts case was quickly closed, no trial. And how quick was this case, the Watts case, open and shut? I mean, you're talking from the August 13th to November 6th. talking like 3 months, when usually a homicide case, or just even a misdemeanor case, sometimes takes like months just to go through the court process. And this guy killed his entire family, this high profile case, and you're telling me that it's open and shut within 3 months? So again, this is another red flag to look out for in future high profile cases. Now, in the future, it might not even, maybe the case is not, maybe it's not quickly closed, right? And maybe there is a trial. But that doesn't, again, necessarily rule out that it's not orchestrated, or that it isn't. Wait, that it's not, or that it is. I don't know what I just said. Either way, just having one doesn't make it, real or fake. It's when you start to get multiple of these is when you need to stop and go, okay, I'm thinking that there's probably something going on here, because I remember these red flags. I remember Megan talking about them all the time for over 2.5 years. Okay. So I'm going to try and speed through these so I know, because I'm already losing my voice. So if you've marked off all of these so far, you're probably looking at an orchestrated event. So then you have another red flag is there's going to be no actual crime scene and no autopsy photos. Now, do we expect to get like the full complete autopsy photos? I don't personally. I can't speak for everybody. I don't personally want to see horrific, sad photos of deceased victims, right? But when they don't even bother to provide a photograph of a foot, of Shanann's neck, of x-rays, of dental impressions, of hell, even the tuft of hair that that the discovery, slow down Megan, says was found on the tank inlet. The tuft of hair, right? They didn't even bother to give us, well, one, they probably didn't even take a picture of it, but they didn't even bother to provide that as a part of the in the discovery. What's so bad? What we can't handle a picture of a patch of hair on the tank inlet? Is that what they're saying? So it's not that people want to see. It's okay. It's not that I can't speak for everybody, like I said, but it's not the whole autopsy photos in itself, but it's the lack thereof. The fact that there's 0 autopsy photos. And then you have the autopsy reports that are not even complete. We're talking, 10, 20 pages. Same with Stephen Paddock with the Las Vegas shooting. His time of death didn't add up. His eyes were different colors. There were so many discrepancies in his autopsy report. They didn't even bother to mention the big blood stain on the front of on Stephen Paddock's chest in the discovery. Same thing with the autopsy reports in the Watts case. Incomplete. Doesn't even mention that they had their adenoids. The girls had their adenoids removed. Law enforcement tells the coroner, Dr. Burson, that Shanann had neck surgery, and I'm pretty sure that isn't that the coroner, the pathologist's job to find that hardware, that neck surgery, without law enforcement telling them? Doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of having a professional do the autopsy? And then there's several other inconsistencies in the autopsy reports Shanann and the girls. Also, no actual time of death. They could not confirm, just like with Stephen Paddock, and Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that there was a discrepancy with either his time of death or his what's the other one? Time of death and, I forget. But either way, inconsistencies, discrepancies, and incomplete autopsies in both events. You're missing ballistics. We didn't get any ballistics reports from the LVMPD. No autopsy photos for Paddock or for any of the 58 victims. You have, with the Las Vegas shooting, just days after, or even the next day, it's been a while, but you have FBI cleaning out the entire concert grounds and removing potential evidence from the crime scene. And I skipped one, but I wanted to stay on the evidence part. But, CBI or FBI, CIA involvement, always, even if it's not a federal case. They will always get involved, just like CBI got involved with the Watts case. So evidence tampering, destroyed, like I said. Concert grounds were immediately cleaned up and all evidence was removed. You have law enforcement or the SWAT team that touched and handled all of Stephen Paddock's wallet, took his ID out. Just so many inconsistencies. I don't want to get into that, but it's just I just want to make a point as far as the comparison goes. Then you have allegedly, right? Stephen Paddock says his brother, who's a whack job, anyway, claiming that they had Stephen Paddock's body was cremated just a couple months after that night the event happened, while Stephen Paddock's body was cremated. So we were told, right? We don't actually know for a fact, but what the mainstream media and law enforcement told us is that Stephen Paddock's body was cremated, while the investigation was still ongoing. It was still an open investigation. So now, even if how convenient, if anybody wants to go back and give Stephen Paddock another autopsy and get a second opinion, well, too bad, sorry, because he was cremated while an investigation was still going on. Okay? It's stuff like that is just ridiculous. And it's not real life. But nobody, not nobody, but the majority of people will not even question that. They won't even think about it. How can you just cremate this who we've been told killed 58 people, right? Biggest mass shooting in U.S. history, and you cremated his body while there's still an ongoing investigation? Are you kidding me? But again, it's rather convenient. Then you have the Watts case, where the house was not taped off. It was not treated as a crime scene. It was not preserved. You have friends, family, Nicole Atkinson, Nicholas Atkinson, Madison, Coonrod, Chris, news reporters, defense teams, all going in and out of that house, touching everything, light switches. So there you have your evidence tampering with the Watts case. And then you have the fact that they auctioned off Chris's work truck just a couple months after the event took place. So now, if it did go to trial, if this were real life, right? If, let's say, for instance, this did actually happen and Chris wanted to actually appeal his plea and it did go to trial, what if the defense team said, we want to go back and make sure that you guys didn't miss anything, or whoever, right? We want to go comb through that truck again and make sure you guys didn't miss any crucial evidence. But now they can't do it because how convenient that they auctioned off his truck. So it's stuff like that, and a major red flag to look out for in future events if there's evidence tampering or if it's destroyed or just missing for that matter. Oh, and then back to the no actual crime scene, right? Work and law enforcement have never given us an actual physical main crime scene for this case. First, we were led to believe that everyone was killed in the house, right? Then you have the shadow thing that happened, and now all of a sudden the girls were alive when they left. So now we have Shanann that's supposed to be killed in the house. And then it's like, okay, well, were the girls killed? Were they killed at the house? Were they killed in the truck on the way there? Were they killed at Servy? And is Servy now a secondary crime scene? Is the truck the secondary crime scene? So do you see how they do that on purpose to where they don't have to actually give you an actual physical, without a doubt, one crime scene? And one of the crime scenes they auctioned off, potentially. I mean, it was used to transport the bodies in, right? So we were told, says the official narrative. Well, now that crime scene's gone. So now we're down to 2 potential ones. Because by doing that, if they don't give us an actual one main crime scene, then they don't have to actually go and do real investigative work, like with CIA, not CIA, but CSI forensic analysts or whatever that collect all the DNA and evidence from the crime scene. They don't have to go through all that trouble, even though they already went through all this trouble, right? But they're not going to go to even more trouble to collect, fake evidence. Which is a main reason why they didn't have Chris use a weapon, in my opinion. Because if you strangle all your victims, you don't have blood, you don't have a murder weapon, you don't have DNA that, a CSI team has to collect, like I just said. It's all so convenient, you guys. There's, how many times have you said that with this case? Oh, that's convenient. Oh, that's fitting. Oh, that just happens. How coincidental is that? No, it's not. It's not coincidental at all. It's on purpose. And it's little big, however you want to look at it, tactics, like little tricks that they use like that in these psychological operations to convince the majority of people that it actually happened. Okay, last ones, and then I'll try to get caught up on the chat, and then I'll probably end this because my voice is going out. Okay, so little to no emotion, duper's delight. You will see that a lot, especially with the school shootings and the mass shootings and the terrorist attacks, and not just in the United States, you guys, in other countries as well. They're doing these events, right? But you have what we call those crisis actors that can't help but smile. They've been through this absolutely horrendous, just literally that day or the next day event where they almost died, or they either saw their fellow student die, right? And went through this traumatic event, and yet they're smiling, or they're saying that they're sad, but their words aren't matching their facial expressions, or they'll wipe away tears, right? But there's no tears. And you just have your duper's delight that they just can't help themselves. And we see that with Chris Watts in the body cam footage several times. And on the front porch. And of course, my luck, right? And how convenient for them, it just so happens to work in their favor because you have so many people and you have experts and professionals on Dr. Phil saying that that's duper's delight caused by narcissism, right? Because he's a covert narcissist, because he's a sick individual and he's a monster that murdered his entire family. So that's why he's laughing and he can't help himself. No. I'm just going to go ahead and say that it's because he's a shitty actor and it just so happened to work in their favor. Because if you hear professionals on Dr. Phil say that, then it must be true, right? No, it's not. And we see it when he's in the closet with Coonrod. That sounds funny. That sounds really gay. And it's bad when Chris does that. And I would wish I could see Coonrod's face, because I guarantee you Coonrod was smiling too, which made Chris smile and get that duper's delight. And I also believe that's another reason why, for his confession, we got to stare at the back of his big old egghead. When 99.9% of the time, if you go and look up an interrogation video, you will never see the back of the suspect or the person being interrogated, the back of their head, because that's ridiculous. How in the hell is the FBI, law enforcement, any other psychologist or psychiatrist going to be able to analyze and be able to see Chris's face, or any suspect's face, if the freaking camera is at the back of his head? Can you imagine showing, if this did go to trial, can you imagine showing that confession tape to a jury? I'd be like, what the fuck is this? Are you kidding me? Like, where's his face? How am I supposed to see if this guy actually did what he did and be able to analyze him, or attempt to, when all I see is the back of his big ol' egg head? It's not realistic, you guys. It's not real life. So unless they have some other, camera in there or whatever that we don't, that they're looking at from a different angle, but then even if that were the case, why do we not get that camera angle? Why do we get to see the back of his stupid head? Right? Because I think Chris messed up one too many times with his duper's delight, and I don't think they wanted him to ruin the whole thing, because he's supposed to be confessing to the murders of his family, right? To his father. So the last thing they would want Chris doing is smiling. Or having any other behavioral analyst being able to break him down in his facial features or whatever. His body language. So there's a couple more that I didn't add on to this list, but for the most part, I mean, seriously, like, take a screenshot of these, write them down, you guys, because if you really or truly want to know the truth about this case, you will write these down and you will remember them. And when there's a high-profile, tragic event that happens in the future, and again, not just in true crime, but any of these mass shootings or these terrorist attacks, in the future, if you can start checking these off, especially the ones that don't add up, that have holes in the official narrative, and you're seeing all these characteristics, there's a good possibility that you're being fooled. Sorry, just give me 1 second. My kitty wants inside. Okay, sorry about that. I hope that I wasn't muted this whole time, because that would really suck. and I definitely wasn't paying attention to the chat, so that's not good. Okay, so that's the end of the video. That was a really, really long video, and I apologize for that. But again, I'm glad that I did play it, because these are important to remember. Can you guys hear me? Dang it. Cause I'm not hearing myself. So real quick, I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but I want to play the some of the body cam footage. So, and I know that the majority of you have seen it, the body cam footage, too many times that you want to admit, right? Or more than you want to admit. But if there's another channel creator, or you just want to go back and watch it again, really take a look at what totally look at it, take a huge step back and look at it from a different perspective. Not the mainstream media perspective, but actually, logically and, rationally, and look at what is really going on with that body cam footage and what everyone in it is doing. So, it's not buffering. I'm just going to skip ahead through most of it. Hey, Mark.
I've called, I've texted. Her car's in the garage. Her shoes she wears every single day are by the front door.
She only has one vehicle?
No, they only have the one vehicle in his work truck.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. There's
She
not
took
a...
the girls and went on a play date, but they're 4 and 2. they're both in car seats.
No, but to be honest,
I'm a sea monkey. Beeve. Why? Why? I don't know if it's on a delay or what, but... Okay, there I am. I hear myself. Now, Coonrod might just be being nice, right? And just listening to what Nicholas Atkinson has to say. But it seems like he's listening to everything Nicholas Atkinson says, right? And then and what Nicole Atkinson says, and then right when he gets on the phone with Chris, he immediately says, "Hey, Chris, it's Officer Coonrod. Do you know where your wife's at?" Like, is that? It's almost as if Coonrod's just believing what Nicholas Atkinson and Nicole Atkinson say. But why? Because as a police officer, that's not you're not supposed to just believe what someone tells you, even if they come off as innocent or whatever. I'm not wording it right, but how about, hey, is this Chris? This is Officer Coonrod with the Frederick Police Department. I have your wife's friend here and her son, and they're saying that they're really worried about your wife. Do you think that, have you heard from her? Do you think you could maybe come home if possible, so we can check inside the home and make sure that she's okay if she's inside there? But no, instead he goes, "Hey, Chris, do you know where your wife's at?" Maybe that's just Coonrod being a dick, but I still am going to point out things that are weird, right? Like, automatically assuming that he's already guilty or something. Again, Nicholas Atkinson's face should be redacted for his privacy. Especially Madison. Here's Madison down here, face not blurred out. And I have body cam footage that I can show you guys instead of going over this again, because you guys have seen this a million times. But instead of me panning through all this, if you watch this again, and you guys, many people have mentioned it, that the lack of urgency, right, from anybody. I mean, Chris is a given, right? He's supposed to be the murderer. We wouldn't expect him to be looking all over the house for Shanann and the girls. But no one calls out to her. No one says, "Shanann, Bella, Cece, are you guys here? Are you okay? We're worried." You just have them kind of wandering around the house, lifting up a pillow here, lifting up a pillow. Coonrod doesn't even go into all the bedrooms and check. He didn't even go into the playroom, and he didn't even go into the master bedroom until like 30 minutes later. I mean, no one's asking questions. Everyone's literally standing around. You have Baumhover standing there like a doofus. He's supposed to be lead detective, and he's literally just standing there in the kitchen. Like where, like nothing, what's going on? You know what I mean? So again, if you watch it, just try to really look at what's going on. And yes, does everybody deal with tragic, stressful situations differently? But again, where's the sense of urgency? Where is not like nothing's matching up what they're saying, right? So Nicole Atkinson is super worried about Shanann enough to call, even go to her doctor's appointment and try to, get information out of them and call police. She's that worried about Shanann. But I see no urgency. I see no sense of urgency whatsoever from anybody. So if you watch it again, just try to block out everything the mainstream media has told you and everything law enforcement has told you, and just really watch the behavior and what is going on. Hell, watch it on silent. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. Maybe I should do that too. But before I end this, I do want to show you guys. I found a couple clips of body cam footage. Yeah, no, I understand that, Bartwan. And I'm not accusing anyone of any murder or anything like that. I'm just saying, what they're number one, like, how do we know? I mean, literally, how do we know? Honestly, if anything that we have been told in this case is true, right? I mean, really, is there one thing in this case that you can actually have been able to, not you, like Barton, but just anyone in general, been able to vet 100% without a doubt and prove that what we've been told in this case is factual? Anything. I mean, really think about it. Has anyone been able to literally actually vet anything that law enforcement or the mainstream media has told us in this case? And if we know that the DA Rourke and Frederick and Weld County, if they have lied to us about all these other discrepancies that everyone's been pointing out and finding, what else have they lied about? If they can lie about that, why couldn't they lie about the entire thing? I mean, honestly. I mean, we are literally just going based off of and believing what the mainstream media, law enforcement has told us. And I know that might sound crazy. Like, what do you mean? Why would they lie? Why shouldn't we believe it? You shouldn't believe it because you can't vet any of it. And especially since nothing adds up and there's so many inconsistencies. There's a ton of them. So if they've lied about all that, how do we again know that they haven't lied to us about the whole entire thing? I don't think that it's that hard to like fathom, I guess. It's, and again, I'm not, everything sounds great in my head, and I'm not great with like explaining things, but I mean, I don't think anybody can give me one example of something that they could, without a doubt, prove is factual that we've been told in this case. Just because they write out a 1960 page discovery, it doesn't make any of it true. None of it. Because we would have no way of proving it or knowing. And again, I know that the majority of people are going to go, why wouldn't we believe it? Why would they just make up, and why would everything not be factual? Well, I don't know. Why do people do anything that they do? Why did they lie about everything else in the case? You know what I mean? So all of this, like the whole speculation on what Chris wanted or what Shanann wanted or what happened at Nutgate, we have no idea if Nutgate even happened. How do we know without a doubt that Nutgate happened, that the beach happened, that sure there's pictures of Kessinger? Do we actually physically, like, without a doubt, 100% proof, know that Nicole Kessinger and Chris Watts were actually sleeping together and having an affair? No. How would we know that? How would we be able to know without a doubt that they were actually having an affair? Or are we just believing it because the government and the mainstream media and law enforcement told us that's what's happening in this narrative? Yeah, exactly, Bartwan. And it sucks that that you can't just like be able to trust people these days, or go to your favorite channel creator on YouTube to get actual facts about a true crime case, right? Or for anywhere for that matter. I mean, it sucks. It would be nice to be able to just trust people. But people are shitty, you know? And it seems like everyone has, you know, the majority of people always seem to have some sort of an agenda. And that's a perfect example as well, Bartwan, like the Fire Stick meeting. How do we know that even happened? Or how do we know for a fact that that part of the story happened? Or is it just written into the story? Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of people seem to have this mindset that just because the mainstream media said it, or that law enforcement said it, that it makes it factual, and it doesn't. It doesn't make it at all. But because, you know, they're of higher authority or whatever, or the mainstream media has more sources to get the information, it must make it factual, when no, it doesn't at all. I mean, were we there when Chris and Kessinger were, you know, screwing 6 times a day, as she says, right? She didn't say screwing, but were we there, like, physically in the room? Were we a fly on the wall to see that happen? That's probably, like, not a good example, but I mean, really, if you think about it, how do we know that anything in this case is real? I don't know any of the family members. I don't know anybody that knows the family members besides the ones that are on social media that they're communicating with, but they didn't know them before that. And even if they did, why should I believe anything they say just because they know the family? You know what I'm saying? Like, just because someone says something is factual, no matter who it is, it doesn't make it factual. And I'm sure I sound repetitive, but it's so important because, I mean, I see every day, but especially with the true crime community, how so many people in the true crime community, they just believe everything that they're told, and everything in these discoveries, and taking it as factual instead of with a grain of salt. You know how easy it would be to simply just treat this case as if it were a real case. So you would have your Coonrod go to the welfare check. You would have the other officers going door to door, canvassing the neighborhood and asking questions and, passing out the be on the lookout flyers. Just doing their everyday thing as if they would do in a normal case, right? They had 3 months to write up this discovery. It's not that long, you guys. I mean, normal homicide cases, as far as I know, are like usually 20,000, 30,000 pages. That's a real discovery. And not this, they redacted 200 pages of the discovery. No, where's the other 18,000 pages of evidence in this case? And I don't care if it was closed in 3 months. We're talking about a quadruple homicide case here with a lot of victims, a few victims and a lot of, going on, right? So how do we know that half of that discovery or the majority of it wasn't already written up before any of this happened? It would not be that difficult at all. And then what? And they could go in and if it rained that day, so you have force majeure, right? Mother Nature, all they have to do is go in there in that 3 months time period and fix anything that they had to, any whatever, like Shanann's flight being delayed. That's gonna mess up their narrative, right? Because it was delayed. They weren't expecting that. So all they have to do is go in there and change it in the discovery. Like that discovery, someone could write up within like a day, if they really wanted to. But how do we really know that anything that we've been told in this case is factual? I honestly don't think that anybody could give me one example and prove to me that anything that we've been told in this case is true. From the names of the people involved to any of the events that happened in it. But that's why it's so important for people to really, just literally ask questions and not just believe everything just because some higher authority told you. I don't care who tells me anything. I don't care who it is. I'm just not going to believe it. I might be, try to be respectful and go, oh, that's really interesting, Bartwan. But does that mean that I'm going to fully 100% believe you? Or anybody else for that matter. I'm just trying to use an example. I'm not poor Bartwan. He's like, what did I do? It's like, I don't attack Megan when she comes in my chat. No, seriously. You just happen to be a part of my example. Oh, and by the way, speaking of Bartwan, I don't. Michelle, if you could for me, could you find Bartwan's channel and post his link in the chat? And please, if you're not familiar with Bartwan's channel, he does it. He covers the Watts case and other true crime cases. He's doing a fantastic job, and I really enjoy going to his channel. So, yeah, please check out his channel. I'm not very good with the whole pitch thing. Just do it. But yeah, no, I'm sorry, Bartwan. I wasn't attacking you at all. But what your comment did make me think of that. So, but I would be curious. I would be curious to know if somebody can give me one example in this case and prove it. Not, I looked it up on this website or this Fox News or Denver News said this about Kessinger. No, it doesn't make it factual. So, if there's a lot of people that believe that this case, with all the inconsistencies and all the holes in the narrative and the red flags, that law enforcement or Anadarko could be covering, it could be a cover-up, right? So if that's believable, if the majority of people think that that's believable, and that the government and law enforcement would actually go out of their way to cover up like a conspiracy or their negligence, then who's to say that they wouldn't go a little bit bigger and lie about everything? If they can lie about one thing, they can lie about everything. And the same thing, Bartwan, with Mary Lou Danley. Mary Lou Danley was Chris on the brain. Stephen Paddock's alleged girlfriend, the Las Vegas shooter. She was the closest person. Oh my gosh. Okay. It's time to end the live stream. She was the closest person to Paddock because she was his girlfriend, right? Mary Lou Danley, as far as we know, she was never treated as a suspect. She was never given a polygraph test. She was wired allegedly $600,000, and I just based on the official narrative. When I say stuff like that, it's always based on the official narrative, unless it's my theory or whatever. But the official narrative tells us that Stephen Paddock wired $600,000 to Mary Lou Danley just days before, in the Philippines, just days before the event, right? So again, she was never treated as a suspect. She was, coddled. And something else that's interesting, she had hardly any history, right? We got a couple of pictures of, maybe one or two pictures of her and Paddock, and I think a couple of Facebook photos with her, a couple of her friends or something, and her sister, right, Michelle? From what I remember, her Facebook was like totally not whatever there. It was just, I don't know what happened. Michelle would probably know better than me. But anyways, the point is, she didn't have any whatever footprint. What's the term saying? She worked at a casino in Australia. She dated Paddock, has a couple of pictures of her, and that's it, right? That's all we could find on this woman. Same with Nicole Kessinger. Who is this chick? Where's all the information on her, right? Who is Nicole Kessinger? Same thing with Mary Lou Danley. And you know what happened with Mary Lou Danley after she also wasn't treated as a suspect or given a polygraph test? She fell off the face of the earth. So maybe that's where Kessinger is with Mary Lou Danley. She literally fell off the face of the earth. Something else that Mary Lou Danley didn't do, she never came out and gave a public statement. She had an attorney come out and give a statement for her. She never went and did any interviews. She never wrote a book. Nobody came out and said, hey, I know Mary Lou Danley. I went to high school with her. She's a bitch, right? Nobody getting their 15 minutes of fame. No ex-boyfriends came out and said, yeah, I used to date Mary Lou Danley, the shooter's girlfriend. Nobody came out and claimed to have known this woman. Why? And again, just like Nicole Kessinger fell off the face of the earth, just like nobody's come out and said, or they may have, but they haven't been able to prove it. No one's come out and said that they went to high school with Nicole Kessinger and they didn't like her and she's a bitch and they're enemies, or any of her ex-boyfriends have never tried to get their 15 minutes of fame. No one has come out and said that they know Nicole Kessinger. She has no history. She has no footprint. Was not treated as a suspect, was not interrogated, was coddled and treated like she was like some sort of saint, right? She also has never came out and gave a actual public on video statement. She did give that statement to Denver News. But she never came out and gave like a public statement. She never has gone on Dr. Phil or done any mainstream media interviews. She has not written a book. She's gone, right? We know that. Where is Nicole Kessinger? Nowhere to be found. Again, she's probably with Mary Lou Danley. But what are the odds that in two of these major tragic high-profile events where the narrative does not add up and there's many, many red flags, what are the odds that each person closest to the killer disappears? Finito, off the face, gone, poof. Fell off the edge of the flat earth, right? If you want to go there. So these are the truth is in the patterns, right? Howard D's here? I was like, he's not up this late. I got report list. His younger brother unfortunately passed 55. Oh, you guys talking about Paddock? Am I still muted? Okay, there I am. Sorry. Thank you, you guys. I don't know how long I was muted for. Dang it. I gotta get a new microphone. I'm gonna do that tonight. I'm gonna go on Amazon. Or today. Not tonight. But it's a brand new microphone. It's so frustrating. It's like, what the heck? Hey, Baked Cake. Good to see you. Oh, Candid Soul. You're so funny. She's like, am I deaf? Am I blind? Too? Do I need to go to the eye doctor? I know. I'm going to work on it. Worst streamer ever. Well, I had a really good point as far as, I was talking about, the comparison between, but I don't know where I left off, and I don't want to repeat it all to you guys again. I don't want to put you through that. But the point is, why do all these high-profile, mainstream, the ones that get all the attention for whatever reason, why do they all share the same characteristics and red flags? No matter what community they're in, whether it's, again, true crime, whether it's in, political events, like the Capitol riot. Sorry, this is a long live stream. I think I had to clear my throat there for a second. About 3 minutes I was muted. Oh no, part one. Okay, that's a long time, especially for me speaking. And again, I sound like a broken record, I'm sure, but I know that I sound like a broken record by saying I sound like a broken record. But I don't expect anybody to be able to, see everything that I'm saying, right? Or to get everything I'm saying, or to the person is going to have to want to research it, and is going to have to want to know the truth about this case, right? Or about these events. So like, when I saw red flags with 9/11 and stuff wasn't adding up, I went and I looked up videos, and I looked not what the mainstream media was saying, but I looked up other videos, and then, on 9/11, and I started, seeing what other people were saying about it. And I'm like, okay, maybe they're right. Like, that, how does a building just fall like that? What do you mean all this money was missing from the Pentagon? So that piqued my interest to want to find out why there's so many inconsistencies with the official narrative of 9/11. And that's what, eventually led me to finding like Ole Damengard, who I talk about a lot, and who's taught me a lot of what I know as far as these events go, and the characteristics and the red flags, and then so on and so forth. And then, you leads you to another video where they're talking about Pulse nightclub, and then the Las Vegas shooting after 9/11, and just whatever. Like, I can only, give you what I know. I can only, pass on what I've learned. And it's up to you guys what you want to do with that information. So when I say write down, like, take a screenshot, memorize them in your head if you have a photographic Rain Man memory like Chris Watts supposedly does, right? Yeah, sure. However you want to remember them. Hemp tattoo, I don't care. But just memorize those red flags and use that, what I'm giving you, in the future. And look for these same patterns that they use over and over again. And like I said, they don't even hide it. Especially with their symbolism and their predictive programming. I mean, it's straight up mockery, you guys. Straight mockery. But the majority of people have no idea that they're being mocked and that they're being fooled. But if you know how these people operate and you know how they like to use their little symbolism, they're so easy to spot. It's almost laughable, right? And if and when you do, and you are able to see what's really going on with our government and with all this propaganda and deceit, it's going to, I would be highly surprised if it wasn't like a weight lifted off your shoulders. Like, yeah, it sucks to know that kind of deception and corruption is going on. I mean, everybody knows. I mean, if anybody says there's no corruption going on in this world, then they're just completely in denial. Like, way in another dimension denial. But it sucks knowing about the deception. Of course it does. And once you know, there's no going back. But that means that now you don't have to be one of those people that are duped any longer, or have that psychological bullshit and the whole victim and the tragic pulling at heartstrings. You're not going to have to deal with that anymore, because you're going to be able to spot what's real and what's fake, and what's just, actors on the world stage. Because yes, of course death is real. Of course murder is real. But I'm only covering the Watts case still, not because I'm trying to figure out what happened. Not because I'm trying to go back through the discovery and see if I missed anything. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? People are just doing, what I did at the beginning. Same thing. I mean, I picked that discovery clean. But I'm not doing it because I'm trying to figure out why the cover-up, or why this and that happened, or what happened, or if Kessinger's cell phone pinged, or you know what I mean? I'm not trying to solve the case. I'm here because I'm trying to show the truth about this case. Because it's important for my future, and it's important to society's future as a whole. Because if people don't wake up, we are literally in deep shit. And I know that sounds dramatic, because it's just a true crime case, Megan. No, it's not. It's much more than that. But if you do and are able to see this case for what it really is, I can almost guarantee you, or I can guarantee you actually, that it's gonna feel like a weight lifted off your shoulder. Because everything's gonna make all these unanswered questions that everybody has in this case, all those questions are gonna make so much more sense. And you're gonna be like, holy shit. That does totally make sense. That makes sense why Kristen asked for a lawyer. That makes sense why Kessinger has disappeared. That makes sense why nothing makes sense. And if you're one of those people that are affected, more easily than others as far as like tragic situations go, or death of innocent, wouldn't it be nice to not have to go through that torment and that emotion, and get duped again? Like, to me, I would rather, suck it up and say, yeah, that was shitty. I was fooled. Fuck, that sucks. I'm an idiot, But fool me once, right? Like, don't let them do it to you again. I know that sounds really cheesy, but And I know it's a lot more complicated than that, especially when you have cognitive dissonance. You have over 2.5 years of a narrative being pushed on us over and over and over again. And that's why they make these cases so tragic. It's as tragic as possible so that even if someone does have the slightest bit of like critical thinking or somewhat think logical, that it's not gonna matter, because the pulling of the heartstrings and their emotions are gonna take over that logic and that critical thinking, because all they're gonna think of, oh my god, this is tragic, even though there's no way in hell those girls would fit in 8-inch hatches, right? In 8-inch holes. Not even, it's smaller than 8 inches because there's a lip inside, okay? They might go, oh, that's weird. How could the girls fit in 8-inch holes? That doesn't seem possible. But then all they think of is, oh my god, it's so tragic. They were in oil for like days. This is absolutely horrible, right? And then that's when all logic goes out the window. Doesn't matter about the hatches. It doesn't matter about anything else. All they know is that it's so tragic what happened to these people. But for whatever reason, I don't understand why the majority of people just believe everything they're told. And I'm not saying don't trust anybody, but, and I've said this before, make somebody earn your trust instead of the opposite, right? Instead of giving someone your trust right off the bat and then having them break that trust, let them prove to you that they deserve your trust. And for them to believe you, right? Same goes for any channel creators. If they're coming out and they're saying this is factual and this is factual, and I talked to Chris Watts and this is Chris's cellmate or whatever, or neighbor, like, take it with a grain of salt. Were you in jail? Do you know that guy? Are you that guy? Can you prove that they were actually cellmates? Have you even tried to look up how long that guy was even at Dodge Correctional for? Because if you did, you would know that he was a temporary inmate and not a forever one, permanent. Because with some prisons, if they're just there for like a couple months or whatever, they will constantly move that inmate around to different blocks or to different jails temporarily, especially if they're really full, until they serve their time, and then that's it. So, Dylan and whoever else, they were in and out of Dodge Correctional. They weren't even long enough to, depending on how many times a week they changed their underwear, but probably they weren't there long enough, right? Especially to write a book in 6 months, right? But it doesn't even matter. Like, I've heard people say that Chris is a liar, and then turn around and go, I wonder what Chris said about this. Or please, Sherilyn Cato, will you ask Chris what he did that night or what happened with this? You just got done saying that Chris is a pathological liar, but now you want Cato to ask him this so that you can get some sort of answer from a pathological liar? It blows my mind. Or, yeah, and Lisa, so you said you confronted Dylan and you deleted your comment. If your comments are getting deleted from anybody, or if somebody that you know, if you're trying to get answers from them and they're not willing to answer them, or they're hesitant to, don't answer them at all, don't provide any proof to back up what they're saying, or if you're getting blocked from a certain channel creator, or muted, timed out, Can you guys hear me? Okay, there I am. Sorry, it must be quite a bit of a delay, but okay, I'm done. I'm done because I can't take this random muting here. And you guys are on point. Thank you. I did see all the muted. Thank you. Anyways, to get to my point, I know I do take a long time to get it. I don't even know why I'm trying to justify myself for anybody, but bottom line, question everything. Do not believe everything you hear. Ask questions. If you're muted and timed out or blocked, then you have your answer right there. And also, things can be very, very easily manipulated, and people can be very manipulative, and, well, you guys know. Just don't believe everything. And I'll see you guys next time. Oh, but if I was muted, yes, I want to, I don't know if you guys heard this part, but I want to try to get you guys enough of you guys over to DLive so that I can do that question and answer live stream, because I want to know and hear, where you guys stand as far as the Watts case goes, or what I can do to maybe explain things better, or whatever I can to, to expose the truth about this case for you guys. So, and just hear, what you guys have to say, because it's important to me. So, thank you everyone for being here. I'm going to say this exit speech really fast before I get muted again. Thanks for being here. Thank you for your support. I really, really appreciate it, and for hearing me out. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. Yes, Michelle, please do, of course. And I don't know if you were able to find Barchwan's, but I can put his link in the chat as well. Okay, bye.